How we doing, fellas? Welcome. I am going to be, today, looking to plan and set out what I'm going to be doing for the next 4 months-ish, because I am developing Nosher from the prototype to a thing called a vertical slice. So I'm making it shinier. Let's switch and look at the game. And my controllers stopped working. Woo! Brilliant. It's alright, I'll just unplug it and plug it back into again. Works every time. See? Works every time. So we have my prototype, or the thing I made a while back. And the first main thing is going to be the first topic of discussion, I suppose. Basically an art pass. So I need to improve all the visuals in the game, because currently what we have is a bit blocky. It's a little bit gross to look at. Nosher himself he's a bit early dev. I want to do a redo of him as well, but the main thing is I need to make this environment look like an actual place I'm in, rather than cube land with whatever that texture was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be grass. It looks more like a mottled steel. That's definitely a big thing. I need to redo the environment. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of environment art and models. I'm going to actually design the environment, so I need to concept it. Now this is the first environment I had. You start in a dark forest. And one of the things I had an idea for was I didn't want environments to just be one biome. I wanted to kind of merge two each time. So I didn't want it to just be a town or just be a forest. I was going to say it's like... I was thinking for the forest, maybe going forest/graveyard. Because then I could go... The first section or zone or area is a mix of forests into graveyards. And then the next zone could be town into some sort of research facility or hell. I don't know. I haven't got that far yet. We still need to design the whole game. Everything I've made was made in a month. So the game's not all that concepted yet. So I need to figure out what this game actually is. That's going to come with the art pass. That's another thing we'll be doing. I like the idea of forest to graveyard. I think that's a good mix. That lets me put undead creatures with bats and wolves and things. That's a pretty classic one. There's some good, interesting characters I can put in to eat and turn into, which is the whole point of Nosher, is you eat things and turn into them. I need to be able to produce good visual representation of what the game will look like. So we're talking screenshots, advertising materials and stuff like that. Around February time, we're looking at it being presentable. So I better become a better artist before February. So that's the main thing with the art pass, is what I'm looking at is I need to produce enough material so I can show off what the product will look like without the product actually fully existing yet. The product. It sounds so cold and dead when I say it like that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this mechanically how it is until sometime in February. So all this is going to stay the same in terms of how it plays and controls, including a bunch of bugs that have been found by this point. Art pass is the first thing. I need to make it look good. After this February bit is when I'm going to start producing and improving on the game mechanically, maybe making new sets of levels and stuff. Well, sets. By the point we hit that point after February and I'm working that stuff, I want to know what it is I am making. So alongside this art pass and making it so I can present what the game looks like visually, so I can show kind of mock-up screenshots, I also need to plan what the full game is actually, because as we established, I spent a month making the thing in terms of what Nosher is, and not mechanically. I need to actually design the game. Helps if I'm on the pen. One of the feedbacks I got is the world should have more life in it. People like characters, creatures, just stuff in general. I want players to have the option to choose if they want to use the tutorial or not. So what I'm doing is I'm making the tutorial a character. There's this kind of science theme running through the whole thing, which I've been mocking up in my mind while figuring this all out. So what I've been doing is designing a character who has a reason to be there a lot, because he's a researcher and he's kind of trying to figure out what you are. But if you talk to him, he'll help you out if you're stuck. So I like the idea of people learning games by just messing about and pushing buttons and figuring things out. I think a lot of the fun of video games comes from actually just playing the game and learning it yourself. But if someone is stuck, I want him to be there to be like, I think if he did this, he could probably get out of this situation. So I need NPCs. NPCs was a big thing. So I want tutorial guy to be there. Tutorial guy's an important one. Generally, I can plan out what the whole game is going to look like, but since I'm doing the vertical slice, my main focus is on making the first section seem complete. So what I will do is I'll skeleton out the whole game and then really focus in on my forest to graveyard zone, which would be the first zone. So what I need is I need to really design forest graveyard, which includes what monsters will be there, and just generally like a set of levels. In terms of progression, I feel like Forest Graveyard very much leads into like Halloween Town next. I have an idea for once you reach the town, introducing a shop slash salesman, seller, kind of Resident Evil 4 sort of guy, who can for some reason convert the gems and stuff you've been collecting into recolors for Nosher or weird fun shit that doesn't really affect the game. I don't want to do upgrades and power-ups. I feel like for now I want to keep that arcadey element of a lot of the gameplay just comes from the monsters you eat. I don't want it to be like, oh, you can upgrade your health to take extra hits and stuff. Later down the line that may change, but for now I'm keeping it arcadey, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm gonna note down that I need a skeleton idea of whole game. That will include what the story is, which I'm starting to get a general idea of. Gameplay, because while we do have gameplay, there are some things I noted from the prototype, which while they were fun, may cause problems later down the line. Here's an example, actually. I will give a quick example of one of the things that emerged from gameplay. The bat power-up is good, and the momentum gameplay is fun. However, designing levels around this can become a problem due to being able to do stuff like this. There is a momentum thing at the moment where if you do attack and then transform, it keeps the momentum from your attack, which lets you fly across almost the entire level. This is one thing I do want to make a note of. One of the main things I will be adding, gameplay-wise, is a reward screen. That's a definite thing I am looking to add. I want a nice bit of visual feedback and stuff with all your dings and your bings and your sploosh and way, yeah, all that nonsense. It's wonderful nonsense, but it's nonsense. All that stuff at the end of each level so you can see what you did well and what you can improve on and what rewards you have left to get. I'm hoping it'll add a lot of replayability to levels, so there's a lot of reasons to go back. A lot of the fun on these tends to be collecting the different types of rewards. One of my main inspiration sources for this has been Crash Bandicoot. And in that case's games, you could go back to levels to do time trial challenges and all sorts of stuff, and I want to keep that sort of sensibility in the game. I need to make sure for the full vertical slice that there will be a reward screen of some kind, so players know what they're being rewarded for doing well, and so they have an instant feedback of, oh, if you get good at doing this, then you can get a reward for doing this as well. That's why I had the 100% berries and 100% berries under par, because then you at least get something for getting the 100% berries, even if you didn't do it fast. But if you also do it fast, you get an extra reward. Another gameplay idea, which someone mentioned, which was cool, is some sort of secret item. Crash Bandicoot, I think it has the big diamonds that you can collect in some levels that are like hidden somewhere and they're harder to find. So I quite like that idea. I'd like to come up with something like a mega berry or something. I've got a lot to do with berries creating gems. I'm kind of riffing on the whole idea that if you take a load of junk and compress it really hard, it becomes a diamond. That's what diamonds are. They're heavily compressed to the point where they become something pure. It's a really down, less sciencey way to explain it. But that's the concept behind how Nosher creates gems, is he eats all these berries, they get compressed and become Nosh gems, or whatever they're going to be called. I'd say 3 levels is a good amount. Let's say I could drop it if it becomes a problem, but I think 3 would be a really good amount to have. That's a good selection of levels to try and do. And that way I could have your nice easy tutorial one that's messing with a couple of different monsters, and then my 3rd level could be one of my challenge levels, and this is a harder level. This is designed to not be part of the main story. That's another gameplay thing. I got to watch a bunch of my friends, all at different levels of skill, play the game. And one of them I watched, no offense to them at all, they struggled a lot more than everyone else with playing platformers. And that was really useful. Watching someone who couldn't play the game was very helpful. And the main thing I got from that was things I could change to enable anyone to be able to complete the game. I don't want the game to be inaccessible for completing. The concept of the off-track hard levels is when you've got something like Crash Bandicoot, what you've got is you've got an overworld, and with the overworld it tends to be, so the dots are levels, and there's a line going like this, and you say that's like world 1. So these levels are your main line to the end. So you start there, you go to there. All these levels, anyone should be able to complete. Like, there'll be challenges in them, but they should never be a challenge to the point that it's not doable. What I want is I want off tracks, so levels that go off like this, and these will be your medium and your harder levels. So if people want to challenge themselves and do stuff tricky and get extra awards, maybe I can have some extra visuals that you can only get if you get hard track rewards. They can choose to play the harder levels. The other things that I can do is I can unlock variants of the beginner levels, so like reverse worlds, stuff like that. There's a lot of things I can do to add as much extra content and replayability and just different ways to play. I want there to be something for every skill level. So my main thing for people who aren't as good at the game is I want them to at least be able to enjoy the story. I want them to be able to get through the main play track to the end and have enjoyed the story, have done some of the challenges, enjoyed transforming into different monsters and learning how to use their skills. If I can get them to at least enjoy that, fantastic. That's accessible to everyone. People who want more of a challenge are going to be able to go back, go down your hard tracks, open your alternate types of levels, I don't know, the lava is rising and you must get to the end before the track is buried, sort of weird randomness, or complete the level without landing bats only tracks. Stuff that's really challenging and you're going to have to get really good at the controls to do. I don't want that stuff to be forced upon people who don't want to do it. I want that to be challenges that people accept and then go, yes, I love a good challenge. So that's how the difficulty is going to work in the game. In terms of gameplay, that's generally the idea of it, in terms of it's an arcadey platformer with lots of replayability and rewards, a main storyline going through, but lots of other stuff to do. The vertical slice is going to have polished visuals. It should at least convince the person looking at that it looks like a finished game. The 3 levels I present should look like how the game would look when it's completed. It might not be completely perfect, I might be able to get it even better by then, but for now I need it to look appealing enough. Story intro, so introduce what's actually going on, explain it, that will include the NPCs, and all base game mechanics. That is what I want to have done by around the end of April, is 3 really solid levels, an easy, a medium, and a hard one. So your tutorial introduction one that teaches the game, your one that challenges you, maybe shows off a few more monsters, and then a hard one to show what the game can be as a challenge. I want those 3 levels to look really good. I'm going to keep them all in the same environment, so I don't have to worry about making completely different environments. If I'm going to be polishing this to the point it looks like a finished product, it's better for me to focus just specifically on one thing. So I'm going to take it all down to Forest Graveyard. I'm going heavy on the whole Halloween theming of the thing, and that's the place I already have the most planned out, so it's the easiest one for me to do in this time frame. And keeping it simple is important. Setting too much stuff at once is the way I've failed with projects many times before. It's usually the way game projects go, is the scope gets way too large too fast, and you realize it's outside of the realm of possibility, and you stop. So I need to make sure that's not happening. And the last bit will be making sure all the game mechanics are shown at that point. All the ones I have ideas of. This might not include like extras, like extra modes and things, but in terms of the base game mode, what people would play through playing through the story, everything should be there. So the reward screens, your pickups and collectibles, your different ways of earning your collectibles, that should all be there. All in all, that should be Nosher. Hi guys, if you enjoyed that video, don't forget to gargoyle on these nuts.